with ShareBuilder. It's your future. Get your share.
And welcome back to this special edition of Hannity. We continue now with Frank Luntz and his focus group in Philadelphia. Frank, am I allowed to ask a question?
You are, but can I do one introduction first?
Sure, go ahead.
We've got some great dial results, some highlights and some lowlights of what was just spoken about earlier tonight. They use a dial about the size of a remote control, and they turn this up or down based on whether they agree or disagree, whether they believe or not believe. The one segment that did the best among Republicans and Democrats alike was the segment on earmarks. Watch how high the dials climb as Barack Obama says, we're going to tackle earmarks. Let's take a look.
I'm also calling on Congress to continue down the path of earmark reform. Democrats and Republicans. Democrats and Republicans. Look, you've trimmed some of this spending. You've embraced some meaningful change. But restoring the public trust demands more. For example, some members of Congress post some earmark requests online. Tonight, I'm calling on Congress to publish all earmark requests on a single website before there's a vote, so that the American people can see how their money is being spent.
Sean, there's a message in there. Republicans and Democrats alike, the American people are fed up with earmarks. That was your highest dialed moment of the evening. Pat, was it the policy or Obama's communication that stood out?
I think it was his communication that he was hopeful that things would change this year. Here in this room, there's a lot of talk about him. Oh, he's a good speaker, a good orator, and that's all he is. I don't understand it. Do you want him to be a good speaker, a good orator about communicating his goals, or do you want him to? Bush couldn't even speak in the whole sentences.
I think the reason people are talking about him being a good speaker is because he inspired a lot of people and moved a lot of people with his campaign, but since he's been in office, he hasn't done a lot. I mean, he rouses people to action, he gives people hope, but so do televangelists.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds good. Everything sounds very nice, very beautiful, but there's not a lot of substance behind it.
It's more than just hopeful speech. It needs to be effective policies.
And is it?
No.
Ryan?
He's great with the teleprompter, but that doesn't make him a great leader. We want to see the promises kept. I'm still waiting to go on C-SPAN and find out about healthcare negotiations. So look at earmarks. I'm not that hopeful that anything will change.
And let me ask a group question now. How many of you believe that the recession is over? He said it. How many of you believe the recession's over? One of you. Sean, I want to go back to the other clip that was remarkable this evening, because Barack Obama talked about how the economy has turned the corner, but the people here in Philadelphia and the people that I'm polling across America aren't quite sure. Let's roll that dial clip.
Experts from across the political spectrum warned that if we did not act, we might face a second depression. So we acted immediately and aggressively. And 1 year later, the worst of the storm has passed, but the devastation remains.
Frank, I mean, that was fascinating. I want to, first of all, this is a great group, and I love their honesty, and I think their analysis has been pretty dead on. Here's my point. You ran this thing that was the most popular during the speech about earmarks. The president promised that during the campaign, and he signed a bill with nearly 9,000 earmarks. Same thing with lobbyists. No lobbyists in my administration. Words mean one thing, actions mean another. He gives a great teleprompter speech. He says, okay, we're going to fix the economy. We saved 2 million jobs, but he promised unemployment wouldn't go above 8%. So what I'm trying to get at here is he says one thing in these speeches, but then he does something entirely different. All the negotiations will be on C-SPAN. I want a reaction to words versus actions.
Do you agree? Is he keeping his promises?
Not at all.
Not even close.
Not at all.
Why not?
I agree with what Dee said. He's a great recycler. There's just no green coming out of what he's saying.
He promised earmark reform. He signed the biggest pork-laden bill, $700 billion, $800 billion in new pork.
Pat?
I think that he is doing as well as he can possibly do with the circumstances that he has inherited over the past year.
Credit for doing it on his own.
Bernard, is he keeping his word?
He's keeping his word. It's only been 1 year. In the speech today, he reached across the aisle to his Republicans to try and get a solution this year.
He says, I will have an open government. I will have a CNN camera. 8 times he said that on TV.
He hasn't kept any of his campaign promises, and so because of that, the words that he said, some of them were encouraging, but they ring hollow to me.
I got one last question for you all. The Speaker of the House is paid, and I quote, $223,000. He said we should be supporting the military. The top general in America, the top one who runs the war, gets $179,000. Which individual deserves more of what they are paid? Who would say Speaker Pelosi? 0. Who would say our military personnel? Every single person there. Sean, I think that's going to be one of the things that people talk about in the future.
All right, one last question, Frank. Do they prefer Geno's or Pat's cheesesteaks?
Who says Geno's? Okay, Sean, you just created chaos. By the way, for viewers at home, if they want to get into one of these focus groups, theworddoctors.com. If you come to theworddoctors.com tonight and sign up, you too can participate. Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah. By the way,
here you go.
Frank, great group. Great insight tonight, and tell them thank you for all of us, and we appreciate it. Thank you. And let